I'm Fred Sigma, and I'm going to teach you how to win the science fair. Seriously, stick with me and I'll take you all the way. I've done science fair from the tender age of 8 all the way up until my high school graduation. I even been to international fair. I didn't actually win anything, and the only reason I got to go was the guy who beat me was so good he got 2 invites. So he gave me the extra one. But I totally went! So I think the first thing we have to do is clear up any misconceptions about what science is. If you think all science is done by huge nerds in thick glasses and lab coats, it totally isn't. I mean, I'm a huge nerd and I wear thick glasses and frequently a lab coat, but don't let that fool you. Science at its core is about asking questions and trying to find the answers in ways we can observe, test, and measure. If you've ever wondered why something in nature happens, you're halfway to being a scientist. And if you've ever tried to find out the answer by testing and observing, you're all the way to being a scientist. The other important thing about science is that it's the effort of lots and lots of people. You can tinker in your garage all you want, and you can discover lots of awesome stuff, but if you never tell anyone about it, so what? On the other hand, if you do a bunch of research and publish the results in a scientific paper, then everyone can read it, and maybe it'll help other scientists in their research. Science is never something you do alone. It's the result of the work of lots and lots of people that we do together. In fact, you might even say it's a collaboration. Huh? Oh, and one other thing. Science fair isn't all about potato clocks and model volcanoes. I mean, those things are totally awesome, and if you can build them, that's great. But it's also engineering. In these videos, I hope to do a blow-by-blow of the scientific method. Just about every science classroom in the world has a flowchart of the scientific method. It probably looks like this. Now, it's kind of scary. I'm here to reassure you that this is not an absolute rule. It's kind of wibbly-wobbly. In the real world of research, it looks a little more like this. The first thing on the flowchart is the question. So I'm going to ask you, what are you interested in? Are you interested in cats? Maybe you're interested in plants, or how to brew the best tea. Tea. Anything you can observe is fair game. You probably don't want to pick the planet Jupiter as your topic just because your school can't afford to buy you tickets to Jupiter to study it. Now that you have a topic, we have to narrow it down. In other words, we have to turn our topic into a question. Some people will refer to this step as the problem. I disagree with their premise. It's not a problem, it's an opportunity. In science, we like to investigate one thing at a time. Lots of things might influence the way plants grow. Wind, light, temperature, fertilizer. But to keep it simple, we want to focus on one and see how it affects our topic. This will be a thing that you'll change in your experiment. We'll talk more about variables next time. So, if the thing you decide to change is light, you might expose plants to different wattages of light bulbs. There are also a lot of things that might change as a result of your experiment. If you're studying plants, things that might change would be their height, how wide they are, how many flowers they have, how many leaves they have. You have to pick something that you can measure, like with numbers and stuff. In any experiment, there will be lots of things that you can change and lots of things that you can measure. Try to pick just one of each. And yeah, figuring out what to change will probably involve some research. Try to study your topics so you can decide what to change about it. Once you have your thing to change and your thing to measure, you need to turn them into a question. Your question should generally take the form, does the thing that I change affect the thing that I measure? So if we picked light and plant height, you would ask, does the amount of light plants receive affect their height? And if your topic is how much sleep people need, you could ask, does the amount of sleep 5th graders get affect their grades in school? And if your topic is explosions, you might ask, does the number of Mentos affect the height of the Diet Coke fountain? Talk your research teacher into that one. One practical consideration. Your question has to work within the context of the experimental design. What that means is you have to write a procedure that you can actually do. So you should keep that in mind as you're writing your question. That said, remember how I said the scientific method is a little squishy? If you need to rewrite it as you progress, that's totally okay. In the real world of science, we ask new questions almost every week. Join us next time as we talk about variables and hypothesis.